Once upon a time, there were two goats that lived on a farm. They were best friends, but they had one big problem. They couldn't decide which direction they wanted to go in life. One goat wanted to live a simple life and eat grass all day long. The other goat wanted to live an exciting life full of adventure and new experiences. They were arguing about it one day when they heard a wise old owl say, "Why are you guys fighting? We can't decide what to do," they said. And the owl replied, "Why don't you just flip a coin?" The goats thought this was a great idea and decided to do it. They went to the edge of the farm and found a shiny quarter. Then they stood on a rock and each goat tried to jump up and head the quarter towards one of their destinations. They did this several times, but the coin always landed back on the rock. This made them so frustrated that they started to fight again. "It's not fair," they both cried. But then the wise old owl appeared again and said, "You're missing the point of the coin flip. It wasn't supposed to help you decide. It was supposed to teach you how to compromise." The goats looked at each other in surprise and asked, "What do you mean?" The owl explained, "When you flip the coin, instead of arguing over who won, you should have argued over what the coin represents. You both wanted something different, so you should have decided what you would be willing to give up in order to get what you wanted. If you had done that, you wouldn't be stuck here right now." The goats felt ashamed for not understanding this, so they did exactly what the owl told them to do. "Okay, I want to live an exciting life full of adventure and new experiences," said the first goat. "But I am also willing to give up some of my freedom in order to achieve that. I don't want to be tied down all the time, but maybe I could be tied down every once in a while if it meant I got to experience more things." The second goat thought about this for a moment. "Well, I want to eat grass all day long and do nothing else. But I suppose I could be okay with doing something else every once in a while as long as it didn't take up too much of my time." So the goats agreed to these terms and were finally able to move forward. They walked off the farm together and headed in the direction of the first goat's house, which was close by. But after only a short while, the first goat started getting bored. "I'm hungry," he said. "Can we stop and eat some grass now?" The second goat replied, "No way. We just left the farm and you said yourself you wanted to go to your house, not the pasture. But I've changed my mind." The first goat said, "Let's go to the pasture instead." "No, we're going to my house," the second goat insisted. The two goats started to argue again, and the first goat eventually got so angry that he turned around and headed back to the farm. He didn't want to go to the other goat's house anymore. He just wanted to go home and eat some grass. But as he was walking away, he realized that his house seemed very far away and the pasture seemed very close. He also realized that he really didn't feel like walking all the way home. "Hey, wait a minute," he called out to the second goat. "Can we go to the pasture now?" "No way," the second goat replied. "We're going to my house." Okay, the first goat said. "But can we at least stop at the river and drink some water first? I'm really thirsty." "Sure," the second goat said. "We can do that." So the goats went to the river and drank some water, and then they continued on their way to the second goat's house. But after a while, the first goat got thirsty again and asked, "Can we please stop for more water?" "No way," the second goat replied. "We're almost at my house, so just hold on a little longer." But the first goat couldn't hold on any longer, so he stopped drinking water altogether. He figured he would just wait until they got to the second goat's house, and then he could drink all the water he wanted. When they finally arrived, though, the second goat noticed that the first goat didn't seem very happy. "What's wrong?" he asked. "I'm just thirsty," the first goat replied, "and I think I need to lie down for a bit." The second goat didn't understand why the first goat wasn't more excited to be at his house. But he also didn't want to be mean. So he said, "Well, I guess we can stay here for a little while." The two goats lay down in the grass, and the first goat closed his eyes. But he still couldn't help thinking about how thirsty he was. He tried to imagine that he was back at the farm drinking all the water he wanted. But it just made him feel worse because he knew he was actually here and he was actually still thirsty. Suddenly, he heard the second goat say, "Do you want to hear a joke?" "No," the first goat snapped. "I'm just lying here trying to rest, but I'm too thirsty to fall asleep." The second goat didn't know what to say. He didn't mean to upset the first goat, but he didn't know how to make him feel better. The first goat eventually got up and started walking away. "Where are you going?" the second goat asked. "I'm going back to the farm," the first goat replied. "I can't stay here another minute. I'm just too thirsty." The second goat felt bad that he hadn't been more considerate. So he got up and followed the first goat back to the farm. When they arrived, the first goat immediately went to the river to drink some water. He drank so much water that he felt like he might explode. Then he went to the pasture to eat some grass. He ate so much grass that his stomach felt like it would burst. After he was done eating, he felt so full and happy that he decided to take a nap in the shade of a tree. The second goat was very disappointed that their adventure had ended so quickly, but he also knew that he had been a bad friend and he needed to apologize. So he went over to the tree where the first goat was sleeping and said, "I'm sorry I wasn't more considerate earlier. You were right. We should have taken more breaks and I should have let you stop at the river when you wanted. I'll try to be a better friend in the future." The first goat opened his eyes and smiled. "It's okay," he said. "We all make mistakes sometimes, but I'm glad we're friends. Now let's go back to the house and do it all again." And that's exactly what they did. They went back to the second goat's house, where they both drank some water and ate some grass. Then they went to the first goat's house, where they both slept in the barn. They continued to take turns at each other's houses every day, always making sure to compromise and take care of each other's needs. And they lived happily ever after. The moral of the story is learn to compromise. It is important to be willing to give up some of what you want in order to get what you need. If you're not willing to compromise, you may never get what you want. Also, don't be afraid to ask for what you need. If you don't speak up, no one will know that you need help. Lastly, remember that everyone has needs and wants. Try to be considerate of others and make sure that you are taking care of their needs as well as your own. If you do, you'll be able to maintain healthy relationships and live a happy life.